is you have to start out your professional career with a passion. And I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and it was a very diverse community. We had Italians, people from Ireland, Jewish community. It was just a very diverse community. And about 12 years old, the community changed, and changed rapidly. And I could never figure out why. Well, essentially it was blockbusted, redlined. And when all my friends and folk that I grew up with left, I was left wondering why. And that question took me to graduate school at the University of Chicago to study urban affairs, urban politics. And so it's been a continuing thread throughout my career, studying how do we build communities, how do we maintain communities, and how do we allow people to stay where they want to stay? Because after all, that's part of the American dream, the American project.
Other very interesting developments, you were sort of asking about alternative approaches here, involves this recent breakthrough, and it really is a major breakthrough, which permits you to take an adult cell, basically a skin cell, a good old-fashioned skin cell, and by introducing a few genes to convert it into essentially an embryonic type stem cell. So as you can imagine, this clears a lot of the ethical hurdles because no embryos are required or involved at any stage of this. You simply transmute the skin cell into a stem cell of the embryonic variety, the most flexible, most powerful variety. So this has been seen as a kind of benefit not only scientifically but ethically, that it'll allow us to, in a sense, charge forward in this area of research without crossing any fundamental moral lines.
But I've talked to some younger people who are deaf, and they really oppose all of this. They're into sign language. And they say that by using these implants, especially, as well as hearing aids, you are disrupting the culture of the deaf. What does that mean, and how do you respond to that?
Well, Mike, my perspective is that much like any other medical intervention, or actually any decision we make in our everyday life, we're constantly making decisions, choices are being offered, and so it is not I who make those choices for a particular patient, but it's really the patient or the family. What you're referring to is the idea that by giving hearing to somebody who's born profoundly deaf, that you're really taking a member away from the deaf community. So it's really interesting to know that about 90 to 95% of children who are born with hearing loss are born to parents who have hearing. And therefore, parents often desire that their children also have hearing, whether it's through hearing aids or cochlear implants, so that they can relate to their child. It isn't so much that the parents do not pursue sign language, but they make a choice for their child to pursue an existence in the hearing world as well.
The concept is really easy to understand. If you want to take care of health care, you've got to do three things. You've got to ensure that all of those who are entitled to some sort of federal or state program get into that program. The second thing you've got to do is you've got to ensure that everybody who is not in those programs is who has small business coverage or employer-based coverage can keep that coverage, that it's affordable for the small employer. And then you've got to design a plan for everybody else. And in New Jersey, there are 1.3 million uninsured. But 300,000 of those uninsured are people who are not in programs but are entitled to be. And you get federal match for that, 50-50 in Medicaid and 65-35 in SCHIP, which is the program for children called Family Care. Then the next step down is 400,000 of them are undocumented residents that you can't put into an entitlement program. The remaining 614,000 are the uninsured, and that's the ones that you can address. So we're creating a large plan that will be state-sponsored, self-insured, state-administered, that will take care of those remaining uninsured. One comment, though, as a result of your people who watch this, we looked at Sherry Galeed's stuff on your material on your website, and we actually went into New York at Columbia to meet with her. She was very helpful in helping us with the economics of the Vitale plant.
Good. Well,
She was outstanding.
the whole institute's always glad to play a benevolent role in,
Well, you had
in
a
public
real
policy.
You had a real role in this particular.
Very
one.
good. It's good to hear.